This is part 2, episode 199. The biggest reward, of course, was still the life or death inheritance from Star Tower, the Star Map and Pearl Tower. After over 6,000 years of torture, his willpower had evolved greatly, and his beast god presence had reached another level too. In terms of wealth, during that 1 month of massacre in Star Tower with over 40 battles, everyone got several billions worth of wealth, occasionally more. In all, how much was that? Even though while massacring, he would only occasionally activate the virtual universe synchronized broadcast to accumulate contribution points. He didn't declare more than half of them. Even so, the number of points he got was still shocking. The amount of wealth he could exchange from that may not be as much as the massacre, but it was still very high. If the rewards weren't big, I wouldn't have been able to afford this purple flame ape wine. Luo Feng said. After I retired, I discovered there was this one bottle within the army system. I was shocked that they actually had it. I immediately thought of you and bought it without any hesitation. Ha ha, Tru Yang couldn't help but laugh out loud. He rubbed the bottle in his hands, as he was extremely happy. The purple flame ape wine was something only a special life form of the universe, the purple flame ape, could produce. Even though it had the name ape, in truth the human and ape race had no relation to it. In fact, it was produced by the universe as a ball of purple flames that was somewhat resembled an ape. It was actually a mysterious flame with powerful energies. There were over 10,000 purple flame apes in the universe. However, over the years, their numbers only dropped without ever going up. However, the years also resulted in several super beings, plus with their special living environment, like some terrifying flame regions that even knights didn't dare enter. The knights would instantly be reduced to ashes within. However, the flame apes weren't worried about this. They were in fact most renowned for their wine, hence naming it the purple flame ape wine. As for this wine, just its flavor alone made it a top-class wine. Of course, there were countless good wines in the universe, just the taste alone wouldn't give it such a high price. The first point of this wine was it was beneficial to the body and soul. Anyone who drank this would feel his or her comprehension of the fire laws grow. Their bodies would be more adept at the fire laws and thus become stronger with it. The second point was that it would definitely get one drunk. Even the strong ones, be it knights or more, as long as they didn't purposely wipe off the alcohol from within after finishing one cup, they would naturally get drunk. Once they awake from it, they would feel all headaches and troubles vanish after. To the strong, they favored this point even more, mainly because it was extremely hard for such beings to even get drunk. It took endless wealth to achieve this effect. Other than these 2 points, there were many other abilities. 1 cup could make a normal person evolve into a universe-level warrior, and drinking more would make him one with an extreme high level of understanding of the fire laws. Of course, no one would waste billions to hundreds of billions just to nurture a universe-level warrior. Even an undying wasn't worth 1% of this 1 cup. For this wine, Luo Feng had spent 80 billion. Your luck was good, Tru Yang exclaimed. The army system has many treasures within, as they are provided by the countless races. And many of them aren't from the Hong Alliance. Many are from the distant regions of the universe, and the treasures they provide form the true treasure trove of the army. There are many of other races, hence occasionally there would be special treasures. Only thing is they require contribution points to exchange for. Even if a powerful warrior discovered this bottle of wine, very few would actually exchange so much contribution points just for it. Hence you got it. Right, there was only this one in the trove. Luo Feng smiled. Even I cannot afford to drink too much of this, I'll drink a little at a time. Tru Yang's eyes gleamed peculiarly. I'll bring some good brothers over and make them drunk. Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. What's your plans on this return? Tru Yang asked. I'm going to attempt the Primal Sky Mountain first, Luo Feng said. After that I'll head out to explore some secret regions. Ah. Relax, teacher, I'll definitely head to those less dangerous ones. Not the renowned and risky ones, I know myself well. That's good. Tru Yang relaxed. Even so, you still have to be careful. The secret regions will occasionally have dangers that exceed your imagination. They are, after all, special places. Their laws don't always follow the rest of the universe. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. I know your strength too, Blade River. Tru Yang laughed as he said this. The name Blade River had indeed caused quite a storm in the outer region wars. He was extremely renowned now, and even within the emperors of humanity, he was one of the top. Those stronger than Blade River are very few. Other than Tru Yang and Heavenly Feather and the other invincible emperors that had lived for trillions of years, other than that, there were none. In terms of the younger generation, only Seven Blade and Meng Sui Emperor and some others could compare. You have to keep your Blade River identity an absolute secret. Tru Yang emphasized. I dare to stay this here in Primal Chaos City because I've blocked off all scans here, and this is the territory of the city leader. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Head over to the Primal Sky Mountain. Tru Yang laughed. It's been a few thousand years. I often hear others discuss about how you haven't done anything. It's made many strong warriors unhappy, standing above others without strength. It's natural they are unhappy about it. When you finish the Sky Mountain, come drink with me. Tru Yang hugged the bottle of purple flame ape wine. Yes, I'll head over now. Luo Feng sat before him and closed his eyes, connecting to the virtual universe. This punk sure is straightforward. Tru Yang blinked. Virtual universe, Sky Mountain. The mountains beside stood taller than the other. When Luo Feng appeared, he flew towards the tallest of the three, the Primal Sky Mountain. As he was a Primal Region member, he naturally could attempt it. At the foot of the majestic mountain, three silhouettes sat cross-legged, playing some unseen game. White Ape, there's someone. Someone is here. Quick, get up. The three silhouettes seemed rusty, as they stood up. The tall and sturdy bull man looked at Luo Feng, laughing immediately. So it's your Majesty Luo Feng. Even though you are the disciple of the city leader, you are overconfident to attempt the Sky Mountain. You are only Sector Lord level. Bullhead, what are you saying? This is His Majesty Luo Feng, what's there he cannot do? The ape man chimed in. Your Majesty, are you going to begin? The snake lady glanced at him, her gaze almost like water. Luo Feng laughed, this feels so familiar. Familiar? The three were stunned. I'm about to begin. Luo Feng smiled and a shield appeared in his hand. It was the Beast God armament. Fighting in the virtual universe, his Tower Pearl, the Shawu wings, the star map, everything was naturally gone. Even things that boosted his power like the General Armor and General Soul were gone. All he had was his normal Sector Lord body that was similar to all the Sector Lord geniuses, but the only difference was his willpower and consciousness strength. Of course the Beast God armament was something he chose. The one he had now definitely wasn't as good as the one in reality, but it was enough for a Sector Lord to use. Come. The bullman waved his huge axe. Let's see your strength. The ape man's gaze shot out like lightning. Your Majesty Luo Feng, I feel sorry for you. The snake lady's formless soul attack had already begun. How? A beast god projection appeared in mid-air. A huge beast god howled and rushed forward, tearing through the bull man, stomping on the ape man and whipping its tail at the snake lady. The battle ended instantly. He had passed the foot of the mountain. This part sure was easy. He stepped forward. He had already forgotten that when he first became Sector Lord, he couldn't even pass this level. However, over his 7,000+ years in the outer region wars, he had improved greatly. The mid-portion of the mountain was just as easy. At the peak, he had a little trouble, but with his powerful willpower, the moment he got serious, unleashing the strongest tail whip from the beast god allowed him to succeed. Congratulations, Your Majesty Luo Feng, you've passed the Sector Lord Primal Sky Mountain. Any human able to pass this is definitely an absolute genius of 10 million eras. Only those able to pass this can be considered the most pinnacle of geniuses in the history of humanity. The three guards revived and were incredibly surprised and respectful towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng stood at the peak, gazing at the vast land below. He could see the other two shorter mountains. As he stood there, thoughts filling his mind, the upper echelon of humanity had already gotten the news of him passing the Sky Mountain. This piece of news was like a tornado, swiftly spreading. Standing at the peak with the winds howling. I'm finally at the peak. Luo Feng gazed down at the vast land below, thinking, the Sector Lord Primal Sky Mountain, this is a benchmark for countless geniuses in human history. Only after conquering it can one stand amongst these geniuses. I'm currently standing alongside the strongest of geniuses. However, a genius is just a genius, not a true strong warrior yet. One day, I will stand at the peak of the universe. Feeling his fighting spirit rush, he made a vow. Back on Earth when he was still weak, he took on this path, for not only his family, but also for his dream. This warrior's path, he had dreams and feelings for. It was impossible for anyone to take any path without such feelings. He vanished from the peak of Sky Mountain. At the Heavenly Bridge, on the beautiful center island, the watchman Bevan stood there for trillions of years, guarding the front. Luo Feng appeared there, causing Bevan to immediately smile. Your Majesty Luo Feng, it's been so long since I last saw you. Ha ha, it has been long indeed. I missed you, Bevan, hence I came again. Luo Feng joked. Bevan said curiously, you seem very confident. Which level are you aiming for this time? To whichever I can, hopefully I get to fight the 21st level. Luo Feng said. 21st level? Bevan was stunned. You at least have to pass the 20th level first to do that, don't tell me. Luo Feng smiled. Is there anyone at the 9-universe bridge? No? Bevan said. Very good. Luo Feng smiled. He flew straight towards the 9-universe heavenly bridge. Bevan watched him go, as he muttered to himself, that's too much confidence. He's only trained for so few years, yet he seems confident he can pass the 20th level, There's a mail? Ah, and not just one. Bevan opened his mail and got a huge shock. What? He passed the Sector Lord Primal Sky Mountain. Bevan stared wide-eyed, turning back to face the 9-universe bridge. Looks like he'll really get to fight it out with the 21st level Guardian. The upper echelon of the Virtual Universe Company were the first to know of such news. Within Primal Chaos City, amidst the Primal Chaos wastelands, the city leader exclaimed as he sat cross-legged. Luo Feng's improvement speed sure is fast, to be able to pass the Sky Mountain. This was no surprise to him. Even though Luo Feng had mentioned before that he had the law comprehension to pass the 20th level. But passing the 20th level of the bridge was only one prerequisite to passing the Sky Mountain. It wasn't assured that he would definitely pass it. Because during battle, many other factors come into play, such as techniques, amplification, spirit energy, willpower, etc. His success will definitely quell all earlier fights and competitions. They all said that Rong Jian had a limitless future, and that my disciple couldn't compete with him. This time, they'll definitely be speechless. The city leader smiled and nodded. Above Blood River Continent, the powerful fortress Jiansha Palace that stood over the continent for countless ages. This silhouette seemed to have countless illusions about. He was one that stood high in the Virtual Universe Company, with countless warriors respecting him, the Jiansha Palace leader. He laughed out loudly, resounding throughout the palace, causing all the sector lords and even undyings on the first and second level to be shocked. They didn't know why he was so happy. Good job. He gazed into the vast space, smiling. The huge Axe Dojo and Universe First Bank punks, they all bet on Rong Jian. Back then I said Luo Feng was the one. Even when he was accepted as the Primal Chaos City leader's disciple, they still didn't admit defeat. They even said that becoming a disciple only changed his status, and it didn't mean he was stronger. Back then when Luo Feng passed the Domain Lord Sky Mountain, they didn't care, thinking that it didn't mean anything. Now they definitely have to admit their defeat. The Sector Lord Primal Sky Mountain represents the strongest of geniuses. This means that his law comprehension is only one step away from the 9th level. Even though Rong Jian's improvement is extremely fast, compared to Luo Feng, it's much slower. The leader was incredibly gleeful. Back then, the upper echelon of humanity, Be it the virtual universe company, the huge axe dojo, the universe first bank, all of them were debating about Luo Feng and Rong Jun. How high were their perspectives? Even though Bolan's initial talent far exceeded theirs, his weakness in character made it so that it would be hard for him to reach high unless he fixed it. Luo Feng and Rong Jun were different, as Luo Feng had his terrifying willpower and mental state. Such a genius, even if he didn't improve fast, he would constantly grow and finally become an absolute warrior. As for Rong Jun, he was even more special. The upper echelon of humanity were all placing bets on these two. Beings like the Tianxia Palace leader, or even high universe masters, their bets would naturally be absurd. When Luo Feng returned from Blood River World back then, the leader couldn't help but give him some pointers as well. While the city leader and the Tianxia Palace leader were celebrating, some others were sighing in despair. We actually lost. Rong Jun cannot compare to this genius. Rong Jun is too much of a disappointment. We can't blame him. Luo Feng's improvement is just too crazy. We all knew that he would have high achievements, but we'd never expect him to improve this fast. In another million years, there's no doubt Rong Jun would become an emperor pinnacle. He even has a certain possibility of becoming a knight. The beings all sighed. The news of Luo Feng passing the Sky Mountain swiftly spread, shocking countless warriors, and making those that were unhappy before submit. How could they not? He had already conquered the highest benchmark of humanity's geniuses, Sector Lord Primal Sky Mountain. Every genius that did so, when they became undying, would become Emperor Limit, even maybe Invincible Emperor. Their chances of becoming a knight were extremely high as well. Virtual Universe Yuxiong Mountain, within a restaurant. A white-armored Bolan and a tall and sturdy Rong Jun walked together into the booth. There was already someone inside, Wu Ka. Ha ha, you've come. Sit, sit. Wu Ka smiled. The two of them sat down. You can all leave. Wu Ka ordered the staff. Yes. The staff left respectfully out the door, leaving only these three behind. You all know about it. Wu Ka helped to pour the wine. Bolan nodded. I thought the distance had been shortened. Who'd expect it to get even further? Rong Jun's voice was heavy. After close to 10,000 years, his energy had grown tremendously, and the overpowering energy emanated from his bones. This energy was one of solitude strength, yet it wasn't detestable. Wu Ka sighed. Back then, we were the absolute beginning brothers, you, me and Luo Feng. Luo Feng was the first to enter the primal region, and you too, Rong Jun. Your improvement speed gets faster and faster. Back then, as a Domain Lord Primal Region member, you were number 1. With that you rose to Sector Lord and became a Sector Lord Primal Region member. Bolan and Rong Jun were both Primal Region Sector Lords. Bolan had changed after his revision back then. He began to display his genius ability as a genius of 10,000 eras, improving at an incredible rate. Right now, he was already a Sector Lord. As for Rong Jun, he wasn't too fast initially. However, as they all grew, his speed grew faster and faster. Later on, he was even faster than Bolan. And his speed kept growing. It was so fast it left many stunned. Back then, when Luo Feng had already become the disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader, only thing was he hadn't displayed any achievements since then. Some had said that the most exceptional genius of this group should be Rong Jun. Even though they were both Primal Region Sector Lords, should they have a qualification battle, Bolan would probably be knocked out into the absolute beginning region. Rong Jun, however, would still be able to stay within the Primal region. Too fast, his improvement speed is too fast. Rong Jun shook his head and sighed. Over these 8,000 years, I thought the law comprehension would get harder towards the end, and that Luo Feng's speed would definitely slow down. However, to surpass him, there's only one way. Bolan said coldly. Wu Ka and Rong Jun looked at him immediately. Bolan said coldly, become a knight. Otherwise, we'll always be below him. Unless we become a knight, we will never surpass him. Rong Jun nodded. We'll work hard together. Wu Ka lifted the wine glasses. My aim is to become an emperor. You two will become knights. We'll do it. Work hard. Work hard. Rongjan and Bolan lifted their glasses. The three of them toasted. As they discussed, another piece of news came over. The three of them read their mails. He's past the 20th level of the Heavenly Bridge. The three exchanged glances before sighing. It was true that Luo Feng passing the Sky Mountain meant that he had the ability to pass the 20th level of the Heavenly Bridge. However, to truly get the news, it still made them sigh, because from the 20th level to the 21st, there was just one step left. Finishing this step meant he could become a knight. Standing at the bridge amidst the darkness, there was only one winding bridge that extended far into the void. Luo Feng continued to fly along this void. He had just passed the 20th level and was heading to the 21st. The guardian of the 21st, he has the comprehension of a knight. I want to see if a Sector Lord's world energy will be able to fight against a knight's law comprehension. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Within the vast darkness, there was silence. The bridge extended deep into the darkness. Luo Feng's heart was cool and yet was burning with fighting spirit. The 21st Guardian. Complete space laws. Luo Feng thought. Even an Emperor Pinnacle or Limit or an Invincible Emperor, they were mostly stuck at the 20th level. While their talent and comprehension may not be that different, and they may have even more resources and treasures, however they were still all stuck at this point. Why? Because this last step was simply too hard. Tru Yang, with his many techniques and resources, could match even a knight, yet even he still couldn't finish this step. This one step meant a step to heaven. No matter how powerful an emperor is, he is but a strong warrior in the universe, as the knights were the true absolute beings. And the Jiansha Palace leader and Shi Luo Duo were absolute beings of the universe. As for the Primal Chaos City leader and other such beings of that level etc., those were already pinnacle beings of the universe. The 20th to the 21st level may seem like just one step, however, the difficulty of this one step was not lower than the first 20 levels combined. Luo Feng slowed down, the end of the bridge was right before him. Located there was a 2m diameter ball that had caused the space around to tear. Large amounts of space fragments surrounded it. Every 3 levels of the Heavenly Bridge is a new environment. The 19th to the 21st was a black hole environment, and flying outside earlier allowed me to see the black hole. Luo Feng looked at this ball. Since it was but a background image, he couldn't feel any effects of the black hole gravity at all, and no light was being sucked in. A true black hole was something that couldn't be seen with the eyes. In the Earth era, there were even debates about its existence. However, the universe had long made it clear. It was a heavenly body that had been compressed to an ultra degree. This was much higher than a star or planet, it was a super evolution of a star in the universe, and it would swallow everything, including ships, stars, asteroids and so on, strengthening itself constantly. Black holes could be separated into weak and strong ones too. The stronger ones had a greater area. Even a weaker black hole would require at least a knight to actually enter its core. The stronger ones were avoided even by knights. Pick your opponent. Fighter, controller, illusionist, pick one, and if you defeat him, you will pass the 21st level and become a knight. A voice resounded from within the black hole. Controller. Luo Feng wielded the beast god armament, saying directly. A large black dot suddenly floated above, forming a human silhouette. He was covered in black armor and had a mask on. He carried a huge blade on his back. This huge blade was actually formed from a blur of fragments. It was some special spirit weapon. Your Majesty Luo Feng, to meet a Sector Lord Challenger is my honor. The Guardian stood above the black hole and floated. To battle against the 21st Guardian is my honor too. Luo Feng smiled too. I have to say, without completely comprehending the space laws, you will not pass my level. The Guardian was very graceful. However, I will let you feel the strength of the complete space laws. After passing the previous levels, you should already know that I'm unable to use the beast god armament. I know. Luo Feng nodded. Theoretically, choosing controller should result in the Guardian using the same spirit weapon as himself. Back then when he used the Nanshan armament, It was a space-type spirit weapon, mixed with gold laws. This was a mix of the laws, but not a fusion. The Beast God armament, however, was a fusion law weapon. This fusion made it so that it was no longer just a space or gold law weapon, but it was of a higher level, a fusion of the two laws. Your Majesty, please make your move. Once I attack, you won't have a chance. The Guardian laughed and seemed respectful. Then take my attack. Luo Feng wasn't arrogant at all. Rumble. The Beast God armament immediately shot out fragments that were imbued with lore engravings within, forming tens of thousands of threads that swiftly interweaved. Luo Feng stared at his opponent, his powerful willpower and world energy triggering the many fragments, after which a 100-meter-long Beast God appeared. How? The Beast God became a beam of light and rushed at the Guardian, as the surrounding space was torn apart. Seal. The Guardian pointed at the howling Beast God. A powerful formless binding instantly descended. The Beast God that was rushing forward suddenly stopped, and Luo Feng floating who was in the distance was stuck too. The sealing power was strong, as even the Beast God was held back. Luo Feng was shocked in disbelief. The complete space law's power exceeds your imagination. The Guardian was very graceful. You should feel proud that you managed to get to this level, however the complete space laws isn't something you can, what? He looked shocked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng's gaze was filled with madness. The veins on his face were twitching, almost like when he reached the limit of the life or death inheritance back then. Back when he attempted the primal Sky Mountain, he had only unleashed his spirit energy amplification, and he didn't even push his willpower to its limit. But this time, he unleashed it. Pushing his willpower and consciousness to their limit, the form he took when he was at his limit at the inheritance before. Tail whip. Break. He howled. With his willpower as the commander and consciousness as the general, he controlled his world energy and poured his Beast God presence that had been trained over countless years into the Beast God. At this point, the Beast God projection seemed almost lifelike. It didn't even howl, simply whipping its tail strongly. Gee. The space about trembled. The Beast God's tail seemed slow, but it moved steadily. With rumbling all around, the sealed space was completely broken apart. Kill. The graceful Guardian before starred with ferocity. He was no longer graceful, as the huge blade on his back became countless gold lights and flew into the air, forming a huge arc blade. This arc blade slashed at Luo Feng, creating a huge tear in the space around it. Luo Feng controlled the Beast God to defend. Kai. Even though the speed was slow, the blade slashed past the entire Beast God, causing it to crumble. After which, its speed soared again. Luo Feng was unable to escape this slash, as it destroyed Luo Feng's life core. Luo Feng fell. Failure. Watching him vanish, the Guardian's eyes once again regained its calm from before. He said softly, "What terrifying willpower, to actually force me to use my kill technique." Even the knights that have passed the 21st level, when they were knights, very few had willpower like that, and he's only a sector lord. In the center region of the Heavenly Bridge, Watchman Bevan watched Luo Feng's battle on a screen that floated before him. He had originally wanted to smile and joke about with Luo Feng, as this was something he found interesting. However, his expression changed very quickly. Seal. He actually broke through the seal. He forced the Guardian to use his kill technique. Watchman Bevan was stunned, and his mouth opened wide. All the Space Guardians, even though they may use different weapons, they all still had 3 moves: seal, kill and teleport. These were the evolution of the normal moves of the space laws, and they were very powerful. Amongst which, kill was the one with the highest offensive ability. And seal was normally used on weaker opponents. Only when they met opponents that were hard to deal with would they be forced to use kill. Meeting an opponent of the same level, they would be forced to use all 3 moves together. Primal Chaos City, Tru Yang's quarters. Tru Yang sat silently in his yard, facing Luo Feng, who finally opened his eyes. Ha, Luo Feng, congratulations on passing the Primal Sky Mountain and the 20th level of the Heavenly Bridge. Tru Yang hugged the bottle of purple flame ape wine. I still thought you'd stop right after the Sky Mountain. I didn't expect you to go attempt the Heavenly Bridge. The 21st Guardian is very powerful, eh? He is very strong indeed. Seal alone was absurd. Luo Feng nodded. With just Seal alone, if his willpower was any weaker, or he didn't have the 32 times spirit energy amplification, he wouldn't even have been able to break through. It was obvious that the 21st level was hundreds to thousands of times harder than the 20th level. Of course it's strong. Tru Yang laughed. Our space law techniques can be split into teleport, kill, and bind. These are the three distinctions, and as we have to train them individually, it takes an extremely long time. And the three combined form the complete space laws. Only when they are fully combined will they be complete. The difference in power is huge. Complete space law seal, that's the true seal. The knights can easily use it on the normal undyings. In all, simply comprehending one side of it compared to the entire complete thing has a difference of thousands of times. Just like the god body. Our human emperors, along with their comprehension of the laws, the amount of stable god energy we can condense is only 100,000 times that of sector lord energy. However, the moment we become a knight, using the complete space laws, the god body condensed from that far exceeds ours. Just that difference, with the difference in law comprehension, soul amplification, genetic evolution, and god body amplification, treasures, techniques, will naturally be much stronger than us emperors, creating a huge difference in levels altogether. Of course, some special beings like Seven Blade, and me, with true treasures, we can exceed normal knights. With our created techniques and special encounters, only because of these, I have the right to be considered an invincible emperor, who is able to flee from knights. However, that's only for surviving. Luo Feng nodded. Comprehension at the 20th level was still fragmented, but the complete space laws were much more powerful. Don't worry about these. In just a short 10,000 years, you've already created a name comparable to Seven Blade, and are very close to me. You are impressive enough. If you go out and listen, you will realize that right now everyone in Primal Chaos City should all be discussing you. Tru Yang laughed. Who cares what goes on outside? Your job now is to drink with me and celebrate. No one can drag me away. I'll drink with you, give me more. Luo Feng said. Tru Yang stared and hugged the wine. 1 cup is enough to get drunk, yet you want to drink more. Let's slowly savor it. I understand, Luo Feng smiled. At this time, ambition, law comprehension, techniques, and everything else was tossed aside. All he wanted to do was to relax and drink until he was drunk. Part 2 end here.